Do you want to be a video game producer? Then choose episode 14. How about clinical scientist? Episode 11. Diversity and inclusion manager? Episode 4. Content editor? Episode 2. And since I live in Switzerland, today I will talk with a Swiss banker. Philippe is a junior banker and tells us his experience in the corporate banking and wealth management. Philippe, have you always thought of becoming a banker?
No, initially I wanted to be a lawyer. Then I started the university in Lausanne, the law university. Shortly after, I understood that it was like a very long path to become a lawyer, and I was a bit in a rush to start working, to do like practical job, to be on the job, and that's why I decided to quit the university and apply for an internship in a bank in Switzerland, the biggest bank of Switzerland, and that's how I arrived in the banking industry.
So do you need to have a specific background, school background or curriculum in order to become a banker?
No, there is different ways to become a banker in Switzerland, at least. The first one is to do what we call an apprenticeship. Basically, you just need to finish the school and then you apply to do this apprenticeship, which is 3 years. And then you can keep working and add some more on-the-job studies. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you can apply, like me, for an internship if you have a certain degree already, which is the maturité in Switzerland. I don't know how to say it in English. Then you can apply for that kind of internships. Same is if you end the university. There is also different internships that you can apply to. That's the best way to enter the industry, I would say. It's to start with an internship and then to get a full-time job, stay in the bank.
So your path was exactly this. You started as an internship and now you are a junior banker. Okay. And can you tell me how long it will take for you to then finish the junior part and then become a banker?
The junior part is 2 years and then I'm becoming a banker. But that's in the bank I'm working in for now. Then it always depends the employer, I would say. I know that I applied for another job a few years ago in a private bank, and it was 4 years junior before becoming a senior banker. So it always depends on the bank you are applying to.
You were telling me that before you were doing wealth management, and now it's corporate banking. Can you tell me a little bit of both? What is the peculiarity and what is the difference between the two?
Of course. Then in the wealth management, what you do is you manage the assets of wealthy clients. So I used to work for Egyptian clients. So that was individual clients giving the money to the bank to be managed. So there is 3 different ways of doing it. One is the client gives you the mandate to manage the assets. So the client don't do anything except giving you the mandate, and then you manage the assets. Another way is the advisory, which is then you give advices to the client and he takes the final decision on how to invest the money. And the third way is to execute only the orders of the client. So meaning that the client takes all the decisions and he just gives the execution order to the banker. You just apply the orders. That was my job. So most of the time we were advertising the clients for giving advices, which investment they should invest in, what they should avoid and everything. And now I'm working for the corporate clients. So it's totally different because the client base is not the same. It's not individuals, it's companies. And I'm not doing investment anymore. I'm doing financing. So my clients are asking me solutions to finance different kind of projects. Sometimes they need cash because they don't have enough cash flows to cover the payments, so they just need short-term cash financing solutions. And sometimes it's more they need to invest, in a new offices, so they need to borrow money to buy an office. So it would be that kind of different financing solutions instead of investing.
And so what kind of skills do you need to have in order to do this job? Let's talk about the corporate part.
Well, for the corporate part, you need to be good at accounting because, of course, when you lend money to a company, you need to read all the statements and be able to analyze the financial health of the company, which is only readable in the statements. So if you don't know anything about accountings, then it might be a bit a challenge. And of course, as in any job where you have clients in front of you, you need to have like good interpersonal skills, communicate well, and yeah, that's the two most important thing in that job, I would say.
So I guess you need to also like numbers in order to fulfill the job, or is it?
You need to like numbers, yes. You don't need to be good at math because we have powerful tools to help you with the calculations. But yes, of course, you need to like numbers in a sense that when you read a statement, it's not very, for most of the people, it's not very entertaining. So if it's a pain in the ass, if I can say, for you to read numbers, you won't love the job because it's most of the time what you do.
And then when we talk about the wealth management part, is it are the skills set different, and what would they be?
Yeah, it's very different because as I said, wealth management, it's more about investment. So the skills are more, you need to be good at, you have to understand financial markets. So stock exchanges, what is a share, what is a bond, or that kind of stuff. And that's more, the technical part would be more on the structure of the investments. Does it mean to invest in a private equity fund? What does it mean to invest in structured products, such things? And then, of course, the interpersonal skills will be the same. And you need to know how to manage a client, how to discuss with them. And that will be the same, but more on the technical side, it will be very different because it's discussing about investment is not the same as discussing about financing. You don't have any statement to analyze when you do wealth management, except if you're willing to like suggest an investment to a client to invest, I don't know, in Google or Facebook, then you might want to know what they are doing by checking the statement of the company. But that's more the analysts who will do the job for you. And then you will read the paper of the analyst and base your recommendation to your client on this analysis.
So there's a business analyst working. Okay, which is another job. Maybe I will interview the next person. So yeah, when you were saying about wealthy clients, is there brackets of wealth that define, high net worth individual, ultra high net worth individual? How does it work?
There is definitely a segmentation in the client groups. Then it's also different depending on the bank. But I would say in the bank I used to work for, it was up to 1 million. It was core clients. 1 million to 50 million, it was high net worth individuals, and 50 million plus was ultra clients. Then again, if you go in a private bank like Pictet or Lombard, maybe it would be a bit different.
And when you're working in a bank, do you get a commission based on how well you did with the clients, or how much you've invested? How does it work? Because I know that a lot of people are interested in working at banks. It's good salary, it's good package. Can you tell us a little bit about the package?
I would say that in the wealth management industry, the bonus, how we call in the bank industry, is part of the salary, of course. I mean, it's a quite important part, more than in the job I'm doing now. So working with corporate clients. And of course, it's based on the performance of the banker. Every year you have different KPIs to achieve. And if you do it, then you get a bonus. If you exceed, then you get a good bonus. And if you fail, you don't get anything. But every year you have like different adjustments to your KPIs. And it's always, the more you do, the more you have to do the next year. So that's part of the job.
Are there any myths of the job that you can share?
I don't know. Maybe you can tell me, because I'm a banker, so I don't know what the myths are, because I know the reality. So maybe you can tell me what you think the myths are, and I can tell you if it's true or not.
Is it true that bankers are all running for, just to salary, or is there something more about banking? Are there other sides of banking that maybe could be appealing to people who are not after money, but they're after maybe sustainability or, better relationship, client relationship, or a human side of the job?
Well, there is kind of a human side of the job, of course, because you are dealing with clients, and you, as a banker, I don't think, well, with the banker I used to work for, and the bank I used to work for, and the bank I'm working with now, there is nothing about only money. It's more about providing the best services you can to the client. And maybe when I had discussions with my former colleagues that retired and they were in the bank industry for a long time, and they knew how it was back in the, I don't know, 80s, it was very different because it was way less transparent. So the bank could, and that's, I think, why some banks have a bad reputation, or bankers in general have bad reputation, because the bankers and the banks could do pretty much anything without informing the clients. So it was a bit bad for everyone. And now it's not the case anymore. Everything is very well controlled. Compliance bank is take a lot of place now. So everything you do has to be checked. And so if you are entering the bank industry just to have, of course, the salaries are good in the finance industry in general, in the bank as well. But it's a lot of, you won't perform if you are not a good banker, in the sense that you don't serve your client first and you give them good advices and good services. That won't work. You won't be good, and you won't achieve your KPIs, and you won't get paid at all. So, so that's more, it's not easy money. And the key point to succeed is to provide a good service and differentiate from of course, the competitors, and try to be faster, in a sense, give faster answers, better answers. And it's, without the clients, you don't do anything. So it's all about client servicing.
And customer service, for sure, is very key in your industry. You changed from wealth management to corporate banking. Was there a reason? Was it just an opportunity that arose for you? And where you see yourself, in the future?
It was more because I quit the wealth management to travel around the world. I did 1 year off traveling around the world. And when I returned, I didn't want to continue. I wanted to see something else. I was being offered a job in the wealth management industry, which I turned down because I wanted to see something else. I wanted to see that side of the job where you do financing, and you provide the clients you have when you work for companies. They really need you, in a sense that if you don't lend them money, probably the business won't be there tomorrow. So they really have a need for your services. I'm not saying that wealthy clients don't have a need of a banker to get advices, but I don't know if you know what I mean. It's quite different. I mean, if you are super rich, and of course you need advices to how you manage your assets. But then if you don't get that advice, you are still super rich. If you're a company and you have to make an investment to survive, or you need some short-term cash to survive, when you address a request to your banker, then that's different. And I wanted to offer that kind of services because I thought it was more related to the world I'm living in. I also used to work for an international bank for Egyptian clients, as I said, and now I'm working for Swiss clients. So I'm more in my area, able to see my clients, just take my car and meet them and provide them services that they truly need. And I feel it's valuable for me, happier with that. So that's why I decided to enter that particular side of the bank.
You think you're going to stay?
Yeah, definitely.
It's nice to see, a path, because I'm interviewing people of different ages. And you're more on the younger side of the age, and it's nice to see when the careers at different stages, and it's good to have a vision for the future, and to have a path more or less clear. And then, well, of course, we never know, because life is full of surprises, and that's why life is not boring. Would you say that there have been hard times during your career in the bank so far?
I wouldn't say hard times, but of course, it's not the easiest job, I would say, in terms of stress and objectives that you have, and you need to commit a lot when you, especially in the wealth management industry. So it's not for everyone, I would say, but if you can accept that part of stress, and it's also motivating for me. So that's what I like. So I was not suffering from it. I was taking the best out of it. But now it's the corporate banking. You also have it's also a bit stressful because you have short delays to do a lot of things, analyze a lot of statements, and provide the best solution within the short period of time. But no, I like it a lot, and I haven't had any issues, I would say. The only thing is I did a bachelor degree while I was working in wealth management. So it was a lot to cope with, to study. I was working at 80% and having classes every night, and one full day of class at the business school in Geneva. So it was a lot. long days.
Wow, that's a very good commitment. Is the system in Switzerland different than in other parts of the world? Could you, for instance, apply to other banks in the United States or in Asia or in somewhere else in Europe?
Well, I think the bank industry is very different from one country to the other. Of course, we don't have the same regulations, but I would say if you are working in the wealth management industry, managing the assets is investing, so it's pretty much the same everywhere. Then, of course, you won't have maybe the same rules that apply in terms of compliance or in terms of I don't know what, but the job would be the same. As per the corporate clients, it's I would say pretty much the same, but we have rules in Switzerland, for example, directed by the FINMA, which is the regulators, and the ASB, which is the Association Suisse des Banques, which is they are giving rules to the banks on how to proceed with financing. In terms of, you need to have a minimum of capital. You cannot borrow 100% of the investment. You need to bring cash and get to get the investment. And I don't know how it is in different countries, but I would say it's the same. So you could work abroad, being formed in Switzerland.
And how about the other way around? Could somebody from abroad come and work here? Would there be like an asset for them to be working here, or let's say the other way around? Like, what would be the advantages of a foreign banker to come and work in Switzerland? What would he have to have?
Banker is very, very general term. There is a lot of different jobs in a bank. There is not only like client advisors, I would say, that are in front. There is a lot of different other jobs. But for a client advisor in Canada to come in Switzerland and be a client advisor, I don't see any problem to achieve that. I think it's doable.
Yes, you were mentioning that there are different aspects of jobs in a bank. So what are other profiles in a bank, if you can mention a few?
Well, there's the client advisor, as that's what all I was talking about before was about the client advisor side. So dealing with the clients, we call it the front, because you're in front of the client. Then there is a lot of jobs that are called back office, or they are not front-seeing clients, like the compliance. So that's more people with either or an audit background or a law background. So people that are jurists that are gonna control what the front is doing. For example, when you open an account as a client advisor, you make a lot of contracts to be signed by the client, and then it's sent to the back office, and they are in charge of controlling if everything is signed correctly, if you did the right identification of the client and everything, so that it's well done. And there is also all the business management side. They are in charge of developing the business generally by doing campaigns, or what we should promote, what we should invest in. Like, should we do more, promote more the e-banking or not, or shall we issue a new credit card or whatever? And all the management, of course, would be also different. You don't see, well, you could see the client, but most of the time you just manage teams inside of the bank.
What advice can you give to someone who wants to work in a bank? And in the question is also intended in terms of studies. Because you just said that you finished a bachelor degree while you were working. Do you think that that is necessary if you want to progress in banking? Or do you think that, you finish in high school and then you start an internship? Is that the right way to go? What would you tell somebody who wants to work in the bank?
I would say it's not impossible to progress without a bachelor or a master. I have a couple of colleagues that they did 25 years in a bank without doing any graduation. But nowadays, it would be a bit more difficult than in the past. The bachelor is something which is well recognized, in Switzerland at least. And most of the time it's asked. You can check on LinkedIn, for example, when you see job offers, it's very often asked to have a bachelor. If not, there is a lot of different degrees that you can have that are specific to finance, such as the CFA, for example, the KAYA, that are different kind of degrees that you can have that could replace a bachelor, for example. But most of the people now entering the industry, either they do the bachelor first and then they start an internship for people that have a bachelor already. Otherwise, they do like an internship before the bachelor, but then they do either like me, a part-time bachelor, or they stop working for a couple of years, do the bachelor and come back in the industry because it helps a lot in terms of competencies and in terms of credibility as well inside of the bank. So,
is there something else that you would like to add that we haven't maybe discussed that you really feel that people should know, people that are interested in the banking sector?
Not really. I would say it's a very interesting sector. So I would encourage people that are interested in finance and accounting, and even people that are willing to do compliance. The banks are recruiting a lot of compliance officers. People should just maybe get to know how the different jobs in the banking industry, because there is a lot. I just talked about a few, but there are a lot. That's a very, very nice industry with a lot of things to improve and a lot of challenges ahead. So yeah, well, that's what I want to say.
I have one last question. Where do you think the banking is going in terms of digitalization and the future of banking? Is there already some trends that you can see evolving and developing, and some that you're particularly interested in? And maybe they will also lead to new jobs and new profiles, I guess.
Of course, digitalization has a huge impact on banking. We can see now that banks like Revolut or N26 in Germany and such banks are having a huge interest from customers because they are cheap, they are easy to use. And I think that in Switzerland, we used to have a huge amount of different banks offering basic services, like just a salary account and a credit card and everything. And all of those might just consider doing maybe the same as Revolut and providing like cheaper solutions for that standard product. Otherwise, they might lose some clients. That's one of the challenge. And some banks like Credit Suisse already did an application to like do exactly the same as Revolut, which goes in the same sense as direction as I thought. But otherwise, in the wealth management, that was also one of the reasons I decided to change from wealth management to corporate clients. There are also different challenges because now they have like what is called robo advisors. So that's basically a robot that do the job of an investment advisor. So instead of asking a human person what should I invest into, there is a robot that does everything. Of course, for some clients they need the contact of a human, some not. And I think my generation, I'm 29, so my generation maybe don't need that much of a contact from a banker. I mean, I don't know any of my friends that went to see his banker recently or the past few years. So it really shows that maybe that part of the job, investing, could be done by a robot. So that would be cheaper for the clients and as good in terms of recommendations. So that's maybe the wealth management industry will consolidate on ultra clients that needs more specific advices that cannot be provided by robot. But all the, I would say, high net worth individual and the core clients maybe will switch into that kind of solutions, automatized solutions. So that's what I see for the future. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, that's very interesting. Yeah, I do think that you're right what you're saying. And you think that it's not going to happen for corporate banking, the same switch?
No, I'm not saying it won't happen, because a lot of things can be automatized. But since you have to analyze more, you have to have like a critical view on the numbers. You could enter the numbers in an Excel file and do all the ratios, and you see what it gives you back. But then you need to understand what the company is doing, in which sector, what are the different third parties involved. And that's a whole picture that you need to see to be able to decide whether you are going to lend the money or not. And I think, at least for now, computer won't be able to see that whole picture. There is a lot of things that you cannot put in an algorithm. For that part, for the time being, I would say we are quite safe, but then we never know.
Thank you very much. One last thing, actually, just to specify for those who don't know Revolut, can you say in a few words what Revolut is?
Yeah, it's a bank 100% online, and download. It's an app. It's free. You get a credit card, which is not really a credit card because you need to put money on it before being able to use it. So you are not borrowing money from the bank, but it works as a credit card then. Basically, you can use the account as any account to receive your salary, to make your payments online, pay your bills, everything as a normal account, and you have a card linked to it. So it's quite useful. And it's cheaper than normal banks, and with less fees when you pay abroad, for example. That's one of the aspects in Switzerland, maybe where the banks are not good at. It's in terms of fees when you use the card abroad. Basically, normally in Switzerland, when you use a card in Switzerland, you don't have any fees. But as soon as you use it in France, Italy, whatever, you get charged a lot. So that's where Revolut is good at, because they don't charge anything.
And that was Philippe, junior banker at a Swiss bank in Lausanne. Thank you all for listening, and don't forget to subscribe to my podcast. I'm working on my social media, for which I will need my niece Asia's expertise as a 22-year-old avid Instagram user. I can't wait to learn more about that world. And please send me comments, suggestions, and people to interview. Ciao!